Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We are, I don't know if the word is excited, but we are grateful to be able to sit with you guys today and do a little 2023 retrospective. I've found that as we're preparing to move forward, right, as we're prepared to come into the cycles that I identify more with as a new year, the lunar new year and the spring, there has to be some moments of retrospection, right? And looking back at what we have navigated, right? And what maybe still needs to be completed. And for a lot of people, 2023 was a very, very hard year, myself included. And it's, it's a vulnerable thing to sit with you guys and to share sort of how difficult and what there was. But the reason that we feel it's important is for you to A, know that you're not alone, but B, to understand that every cycle is going to close and open into a new one. And what's coming now is a lot of new energy. And so even though we're going to be talking about some of the challenges of this last year, I want you guys to also feel the hope of the sun rising, right?
Yes.
Because it will and it is. And there's a lot of energy as I say that. But wow, I think the last 2 years for most people, and I'll candidly share, the last year has just been such a significant loss for me, in a manner of, I think if we encapsulate the last 2 years, but really even in a 1 year span, 1.5 year span, we lost our soul dog. We lost, very special friendships. We lost my mother recently, which I thank all of you guys for your love. And I am still navigating that, and I will be navigating that for probably my entire life to one extent or another. The biggest, most significant, most life-changing, loss I've ever experienced. And, the amount of change and the amount of loss. And then we have on a global scale, right? On a global scale, we're experiencing tremendous loss, tremendous adversity, war. The amount of, and when I say that, I can feel all of the activation. So many of you guys are so activated, so much going on, so painful. And, I want to let Nicole speak, but I'm just hearing this message, right? Because this video is really just a guided, intuitive video of us connecting and looking back and giving you guys the opportunity to look back. And what I was hearing is, so can we look at all of this from the standpoint of our soul's evolution?
Yes.
Or will we look at all of this from the standpoint of resistance and victim? And this is a question every one of us is being offered up. And this is a choice every one of us is at the crossroads with. And that is globally and it's individually. So what I'm really feeling and hearing is can we finally start to see things as an opportunity for our evolution? Or will we resist it? And this is where we bifurcate in the opportunity of experiencing hell.
Yes.
Or heaven in our human existence. And we'll talk about that more in the future. But we're really at choice points. And this is something I invite you guys to sit with in your year ends retrospective, right? In this looking back and this going deep, this going internal. What can you reframe? What can you see even in, because now I'm not pandering to you, right? I'm not pandering to you because I'm facing the most significant grief and loss that I have ever, and I feel, I think this is really just beyond anything I've experienced. So if I can say that in this moment, right, I know that wherever you sit, I'm not minimizing your challenge. I'm not minimizing the individual or the global challenge. But development and evolution for us still means having to ask, like, can I look at what is offering me a growth point here? And how could this potentially be part of my evolution? And, globally, we see things where keep repeating cycles, which means we're being asked, like, will we see how to stop doing the same shit wrapped in a different justification, giving us the same results continuously? Can we find humanity? Right? Can we evolve?
It's so interesting. In the past 6 months, Dov and I kept seeing eagles, right? And if you look at the symbolism of eagles, it's like this higher, wiser view, to be able to see the whole field, to be able to have perspective that's not of this world. And when I say of this world, like the 3D ego, duality, like higher, wiser understanding that everything that we go through is evolving our soul. So we let it. So we are willing to look past the way other people might be viewing things, past other people's emotions around things, looking, like what Dov just said, that we are having to revisit these things for us to finally go, wait a second, I'm seeing where the problem is truly at heart level, at soul level, that hatred doesn't actually change anything. That actually keeps it going. It is just constant. When we come out of abuse, if we then become the abuser, we keep it going. So it has to stop with us, which means that we are at a time where we're getting really honest with ourselves. See, when Dov's mom got sick, my dad started to get more sick. And something happened during that where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. My human was like, this is a joke. Like, this is an actual joke. I just lost my dog. I lost friends. I lost people to overdoses. Like, I was like, this is like the human part of me was like, oh, heck no, I don't want to do this. I started to resist it. And I started to suffer. I started to go into like more hellish realms because my being wasn't fully connecting to saying, oh, I got something for you, Nick. But when I started to hit my bottom where I couldn't resist anymore and I was like, God, please help me, I started to see that my father becoming ill was the time for Nicole to go a little bit deeper into the trauma that I experienced with my father. That I had brushed certain levels of things and I wanted to protect my dad. You guys, I don't know if you know this, but biologically, we are loyal to our parents. We're built to be loyal to them, to protect them, to honor them, even if what they are doing is wrong in your home. And you're like, why am I keep like sticking up for these people that, and I understand what my father went through. I understand what my mother went through. I understand that they were doing their best. Now I understand that. But before that, I needed to face the trauma in my being. Because what happens is your body and your mind and your ego is keeping score of everything you ever went through. It doesn't go away until you actually face it, look at it, walk through it, understand yourself to heal it. And so this was an opportunity. This was an opportunity to heal. I also watched Dov's mother go through the most profound soul evolution in front of me while being sick. And so part of me was like, why is this woman going through it? And then also understanding that her soul was also evolving and she was cleaning up her whole being. And I got front row seats to that. I got to witness the power of God in this woman's life. That when she finally said, cheers, goodbye, it was so clean. It was pristine. It was back to a state of a newborn. It was that of childlike wonder. It was that of childlike gratitude. It was nothing I had ever experienced in my life. It was one of the most beautiful things while going through the pain. And I tried so damn hard not to resist it. And because I didn't resist it and I accepted it, I got to witness it in all of its totality and all of its beauty. And would she have done that transformation without the sickness? I don't know. I'm not God. But what I do know is that everything that we go through has meaning. It has value. So we see it as that. So we accept it as that. And also knowing that our mind, our thoughts, and our choices create our reality. And we have a say in all of this. Your soul, You alone are so powerful. You are the universe. You are the microcosm of it. Your thoughts and your actions actually matter. The people that you touch, I do not touch. Actually, if you're watching this video and your consciousness is shifting, I guess I do touch. Because if you are having a shift right now and then you take that back to your peeps, we are all connected. And so yes, I am touching those people with you, but we are doing that together. And the other thing I want to share is that as we are watching things collide and we're watching destruction and chaos out there, those of you that are in this spiritual awakening are raising the vibration of the collective. And so you might see things get a little bit worse because we shook the snow globe. It's like you shake it and you're watching it, because things and eyes and ears cannot hide from the truth when the truth is being pushed up into frequency. And it is unbearable for some of the collective right now. And we are losing a lot of people. It's unbearable to have to face the truth about the planet. It's unbearable to face the truth about yourself. It's unbearable. Yet many of you are accepting to keep your eyes wide open and keep your ears open, and you are standing and anchoring in the love that made you, and you are doing a mighty work. And with that, you are going to reap this year benefits. You are going to feel the favor. You are going to feel the grace and the mercy. So you continue to not resist.
And we can we need to see the dysfunction in ourselves and in the collective. We need to look back and find the places that need our care. And we need to look at the systems that are not working anymore. And we need to call out behaviors and patterns and things that are not okay. And we need to, call war out, and we need to call genocide out. We need to call these behaviors out in ourselves as well, and our own dysfunction. And that has to happen. And that's why it's happening, so that it is, because it's only when it feels unbearable to us that we often make change. So it does actually need to have that unbearable quality to it for us to find that change, and I want to talk to something Nicole was saying for a second. And this is a really complex topic. And so, I opened this video just to come as it needs to. And with that, I have to listen to, what spirit is bringing forward in this moment. But at the same time, my ego resists it, because this is a very complicated topic that I'm going to share. And some of you guys may not get it, but I will trust that those who are needing to get it are going to. And if it's complicated for you, perhaps this is the first seed of understanding of this. Nicole was talking about, we create the judgment of situations, whether they be good or bad in our lives. Mm-hmm. And the truth is that there is a freedom in investigating our beliefs around something being good or bad. And, how we see, as Nicole said, illness as good or bad, death as good or bad, breakups as good or bad, accidents as good or bad. And I know some of these things I'm saying to you, you're like, well, they're obviously just bad. But the deeper we investigate them and what we compare them against might lead to different conclusions. Because if our life is to avoid discomfort and is to stay alive, if our goal is to stay alive, avoid discomfort, have all of the money in the world, then some of these things will be deemed bad. If our goal is evolution as a soul, divine self-expression at its maximum capacity, connection and growth, then we might question. Because as Nicole said, her experience and my experience with my mother, but also other things in our lives is if we let go of the resistance that's generated from the ego, what might that teach us? And people who, you might even be one of them. You might be out there and say, I had an accident or a terminal illness that I overcame and it changed my life. That I would have never woke up if that didn't happen. That I would have never stopped, being this way or that way. That I would have never sought my spirituality, or that I would have never, right? These are examples of how there isn't that simple binary black and white energy to the conclusions of good or bad value assessment that we make, that there's something else. And the reason this is coming up in this video is because as you look back, and again, I know how hard that is because I'm still in negotiation with what's happened with my mom, and because I'm still in resistance, and because I'm still a human. And I have every feeling around this experience, right? And I still have resistance around relationships I've lost, and I still have resistance and negotiation around, even my dog being gone, all of these things, because I still cycle my human. But the question is, as we're preparing ourselves to allow the energies to shift this year, can you look back and challenge some of the experiences that you've had? Look back and see what they might be telling you, or what they might have compelled you into, what you might be experiencing from them, and maybe challenge the value you've given them. Maybe challenge the judgment you've applied to them, and let yourself sit and feel with it. And so take this time, right? Take this time over these next weeks. Take this time. And, even if you find this way into the year, it's never too late or wrong to do a retrospective of your life, or your last year, or your last relationship, or because we don't want to do that. We don't want to. People will say to us when they come to do work with us, sometimes they'll say, I don't want to look back, because who wants to re-traumatize myself? Listen, everything is already existing in you.
It's already in there.
It's not going anywhere just because you don't think of it. In fact, it's only going somewhere when we give it attention and care and analysis and feeling, above all, feeling. So as you go back and look at these things, maybe ask yourself how you feel, and if you've really felt, and not just an ego reaction, but are you scared? Are you embarrassed? Are you sad? What is in there that needs a little more attention? And can you reassess the value judgment you've given it? And can you look at maybe what you might want to do different for yourself, for your life? What still matters? And letting yourself, it's like, I keep seeing what Spirit is showing me is that this is tilling the soil. Like, this is getting the rocks out and bringing the nutrients back into the soil of your garden, of your energy, of your life, so that you are able to really grow at exponential, frequency and time this year and moving forward. And we need that right now. We really need each and every one of you and your consciousness and your dedication to yourself. So take time, take rest, take break, and look back. Look back. And, the last thing I want to say is fear. If we deeply fear and try to avoid our fear, it will find us.
Yes.
And this last 2 years, in my opinion, has really been the reckoning of our fear.
Yes.
It has been the reaper of our fear just coming in and just showing up, because almost everything that I feared in my life occurred. And the thing about walking through our fears is that it's a spiritual awakening in and of itself.
Yep.
And you will be free also from walking through your fear. But I also want to say this about fear, because I want to say, perhaps start to have a new relationship with fear. Because what we give deep energy to, what we fear silently, it comes. It comes because we build it into our life. And I'm not saying that everything in my life occurred because I feared it, but I am saying that we will experience what we fear. And if you can look at things differently and have less fear, but even if you have fear, just knowing that it just means going through something that's completely unknown, and that you will be okay. You have that freedom that generates through your system. And so a lot of you have walked through a lot of fear, and it has not been easy. And you are dealing with the pain of some of those losses, and it is huge. So give yourself time and give yourself patience. And we are going to be talking more about what's coming into this new year. We are going to be with you guys as we can. We are going to be serving you at the level that we're guided to and the appropriate timing right now as everything is moving. And thank you for joining us in a very, vulnerable time and vulnerable video. And thank you for all of your support and your love. And we hope that this truly served you. And some of these concepts are really challenging. So if you resist them, or they feel hard, or they feel unclear, just let it be the first introduction, because truly on some of the concepts I shared on, you would need whole books to explain just single concepts. And so this is really just introducing. It's the challenge of a belief. And when we challenge our beliefs, we grow. When we challenge our beliefs, we evolve. So just know that when we are challenged, maybe start welcoming that. Start welcoming that challenge in your life, and knowing that it's cracking those things we want to hold on to, those old identities, those old stories. And in order for you to get where you want to go, who you are and where you are now will have to die. And so it's good to be challenged, because we're growing at every moment. And if you have any future goals, or there are any places you want to go, and you are not totally at your completion in this moment with who you are, it will require those deaths. It will require those challenges, and it will require those transitions. So
thank you.
Thank you guys for being with us. We're sending you so much love, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.